Welcome back to the Postpartum Plan podcast. This podcast is designed to support and empower you through postpartum. Whether you're expecting, in the early postpartum days, or beyond, this space is for you. I'm your host, Madison Fugere, a dedicated postpartum doula and pediatric sleep consultant, striving to help parents feel confident and supported in their parenting journey. Each week, I'm sharing practical tips and expert advice to help you navigate all the postpartum things with confidence. Well, as much confidence as you can. Let's embark on this journey together, making your parenthood as serene and supportive as possible. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. The clip that you're seeing if you're watching on social media is me sitting outside, and I'm hoping that my microphone is going to do great and you guys won't hear all the birds and everything in the background and hopefully no trucks. I'm also really hopeful that none of these hornets try to come at me. So I am sitting outside today and recording to bring you a solo episode all about why your baby might be waking up early and how we can shift that earlier wake up to become later. So we talk about all of the different things here on the podcast, but one of the sleep topics is that babies are waking up early, and that's one that I hear a lot about with my clients that are inquiring. I work with a lot of sleep consulting clients that are having little ones. A hornet is flying at me. All better. Um, so yes, we have lots of people coming to me and they need support with helping their kiddos sleep in later, right? We might be sleeping well at night or we may not be sleeping well at night, but we're waking up at 5 a.m. or whatever, and it's not going to fly, okay? So we're going to talk about how we can adjust these types of things. So here's the thing, like 5 a.m. technically is like a morning in biology, which is why babies' bodies are starting to lack that melatonin production at that time in the morning, and their cortisol is starting to increase. So the cortisol is that like awake hormone, that, energy hormone, keeping them awake and getting them intrigued. Whereas that nighttime hormone is that melatonin hormone that's going to help them to sleep. So when they wake up between, 4 and 6 a.m. and they realize that their melatonin isn't pumping as much, it's trickier for them to fall back to sleep, right? They think that they're supposed to be awake. So how do we fix that? So we know that these hormones are existing. We have to kind of work with them. We can't really change those hormones. So we need to kind of help their little bodies to think that it's still nighttime. So my biggest thing is making sure you have a dark room. A dark room in the point where, like, if you put your hand in front of your face, even at 5 a.m., you shouldn't be able to see your hand. So it's really challenging to find curtains, and I've been on the market to find blackout curtains that are able to help this process, especially those 5 a.m. wake ups. And I found one company that's my favorite called Otter Space, Otter like the animal space. You can buy their blackout curtains and they truly seal off the window. It is one of my favorites. I have a link that I'm more than happy to share, and it does have a discount code as well. So I'll put that in the show notes below. Definitely check them out. And so you can check that out and possibly use that. But yeah, darkness is the key. That's going to tell their brains like, hey, nope, it's still nighttime. We need to go to sleep. Versus when we go in to wake them up and we can open those shades up and let them know like, yep, it's time to wake up now. There is daylight, right? So on top of that, we want to make sure that we're using proper sleep pressure. So we want to make sure that those awake windows throughout the day are the proper time, especially that awake window before bed. So typically we ask for that awake window before bed to be a little bit longer than our typical awake window, because if that one right before bed is a little bit longer, it's going to create more sleep pressure, which is going to make your kiddo be more tired and actually go to sleep better, ideally, when they go down for the night. The other thing that we want to make sure is they're not overtired, right? So if they're overtired, they're going to be fighting sleep more. And a lot of early morning wake ups, the first thing that I'll typically say is if you have a kid waking up early, they need to go to bed earlier. I know it sounds backwards, right? You would think that means they need to stay up later at night and they'll sleep in later, but that's not the case. Put them to bed earlier. So if your kid's going to bed at 8:30 and they're waking up at 5 a.m., try putting them to bed at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. See if that helps. More times than not, that's the case. Your kiddo is overtired, and there is the way that their sleep cycles connect causes them to become more tired and wake up earlier in the morning if they're overtired and they're not going to bed at the right time. I know that sounds crazy, right? The other thing that we want to make sure that we're not doing is reinforcing those early morning wake ups. If you have a kiddo that's young and that is still doing naps, especially multiple naps, that can often be reinforced, that early morning wake up, by doing an early nap. And so then all your naps get shifted forwards, bedtime gets shifted forwards, and then you're back to 5 a.m. wake ups all the time. And that's just not what we're trying to do. So you want to make sure that you are creating a schedule for your child's naps that are going to be indicative of them not waking up at 5 a.m. So we don't want them going to their first nap at 8 a.m. if they're only taking 2 naps. We want them going down at like 9 or 10. So really trying to stretch that wake window to get them to take their naps at the proper time, not the proper awake window if they're waking up early for that first nap. That's going to help you to get their naps at the right schedule, get their bedtime at the right time, and ideally get them sleeping in later. The next thing that you want to think about is, how are you reacting when they wake up at 5 a.m.? Are we going in and we're just getting them up? Are we leaving them be for a while? Are we going in and offering a bottle or some milk or a snack or something? Are we going in angry? Are we going in happy? You really have to think about how you're reacting to your child waking up at this time. And so typically what I will suggest is giving them a little bit of time, depending on their age. That can be anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. If they are still asleep, still awake at that point, going in and reminding them it's bedtime, it's time to go to sleep, just like how you would if they woke up in the middle of the night. If you have a kiddo that's older, definitely implementing something like an okay to wake clock or a light clock, role playing, especially with toddlers, during the day, practicing, okay, what happens if we wake up and the light's not on yet? Oh, we go back to sleep, right? And practicing those things. And then the last option is, for some kiddos, they do wake up early. They don't need as much sleep as others, and we want to adjust those naps. Or we let them wake up at 5 a.m. and you might be okay with, offering a book or a quiet toy for them to play with in that morning hour. And I would say, like, you can definitely do that. Just be cautious that that doesn't become a loop and now they're waking up at 4:30 and now they're waking up at 4 and now they're waking up earlier and earlier, because we do want to make sure they're getting enough sleep, right? So it really is about expectation as well. Yes, your kiddo might be waking up at 5. You need to also look at how much sleep they're getting in 24 hours. We need to set our expectations to be proper for these kiddos. They should be getting about 11 to 12 hours at night, and then depending on their age, they need their naps. So if we are having a kiddo that is sleeping 11 or 12 hours at night and waking up at 5, then maybe you need to adjust their bedtime. Or if you have a kiddo that's getting a lot of sleep in a 24-hour period, they may not need that much sleep. And so what you need to do is shorten those naps, maybe cut them to be shorter, maybe drop a nap, in order to make sure that you're not getting too much sleep during the day, which is causing them to not be tired enough during the night. I have a guide about that, and you're more than welcome to grab that link below. It's a schedule by age guide for kiddos starting at 3 months old all the way until they are about 18 months, but really realistically till they're just in a 1 nap schedule. And that's going to give you information on what time naps could likely be at for an average child about their age, as well as what their awake windows should look like and how much sleep they need in a 24-hour period, so that we're assuring they're not under or overtired when they're going to sleep. We're going to keep that one short and sweet today. Hopefully you got everything that you need from this. If you are still struggling and those things are not working, please feel free to reach out. I am more than happy to share some more information with you about sleep training, how I can help, or even an Ask Me Anything call. So definitely check out the links below, grab the resources, and I will talk to y'all soon. Have a great week. Thank you so much for tuning into the Postpartum Plan podcast. I hope that today's episode brought you support, relatability, and valuable insight. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave a review and share with any of your prenatal and postpartum friends and family. Your feedback helps us reach more parents seeking support. And if you're looking for additional resources, please feel free to connect via Instagram at Serene Moments Doula for constant information, tips, and tricks, or check out my website, www.serenemomentsdoula.com. See you next week.